Hello, my friends. It's Emma Figgling with TYT Politics. Look, horizontal video. We're trying our best. I know that the vertical box, people aren't always too pleased with it, so now Facebook has actually given us a good option, and we can go horizontally. So, all good. I hope everyone's having a lovely Friday. Week is almost over. Jordan and I just got back from Standing Rock, and we had some more great footage from there. I don't know any besides the outlets that are very environmental and are focused on environmental justice, I don't know any other outlet that is going as in-depth as what Jordan and I are doing with Standing Rock. So definitely go check out those videos. Go check out Eric's videos. Obviously, he has a lot of videos on the civil rights reaction to Donald Trump, the many racial implications that happen, that are in lieu of the pending Trump presidency. Oy, oy, oy. So, in the wake of the pending Trump presidency, we have to talk about the Democrats. We know how bad the Republicans are. We know that it's going to get worse under Donald Trump. We know that they're going to be emboldened, that he says he's going to drain the swamp, but he's putting all these lobbyists in. I mean, just today, he appointed Jeff Sessions. It doesn't get more swampy than Jeff Sessions. Steve Bannon is a xenophobe, all of this stuff. So you would think, in the face of such evil, I don't even think that's crazy to say, in the face of such an obvious, disgusting opposition, that the Democrats would have a contingency plan, would have an ability to fight back in a way that understands the mood of the country, that understands that people are angry, that people are populist. Of course. Does the Democratic establishment have any semblance of the heartbeat of the American people? Of course not. So Nancy Pelosi, obviously everybody knows, a staple of the Democratic establishment since around 2003, she is set to retain her position as the House Democratic leader, but she's had some challengers. Representative Tim Ryan of Ohio is launching a challenge to Representative Nancy Pelosi's of California's long-held position as the top House Democrat he announced on Thursday. In the letter to the caucus, this 43-year-old Ryan said, by the way, fun fact, he was a star high school quarterback, I saw in another article. Relevant to policy and the ruling of this country. The 43-year-old Ryan said last week's disastrous election results, the latest in a string of bad cycles for the Democrats, showed the party needs a new direction that can be accomplished only with new leaders. I totally agree. Tim Ryan. You have me here. You had me at hello. While having a position in Democratic leadership has never been my life's ambition. Oh, please. Why are you doing it? After the election, I believe we all need to reevaluate our roles within the caucus, the Democratic Party, and our country, Ryan wrote. He also said in an interview that the Irish would be so happy to see two Ryans in Democratic leadership, meaning him and Paul Ryan. So, that was a folksy response, carefully coordinated, already off on a bad foot, and already tying himself, weirdly, for no reason, to Paul Ryan in terms of Irish heritage. You should be like, I'm embarrassed to share the last name as frickin' Paul Ryan. That's what I'm embarrassed by. Not that we're both gonna do our Irish heritage proud, please. I have such a nitpicky mind. That's not relevant, but we continue. This is why I'm announcing my run for minority leader of the Democratic caucus and humbly request your support. The letter came just minutes after Representative Joseph Crowley, Democrat of New York, who's a huge fundraiser for the Democrats, most of the New York politicians are, announced that he is seeking to replace outgoing House Democratic Caucus Chairman Xavier Becerra in the 115th Congress. A number of Democrats had urged Crowley, a popular Queens lawmaker and prolific fundraiser, there you go, to launch his own challenge against Pelosi, and his evasion of questions in recent days fueled speculation that he might run. Again, a number of Democrats urged Crowley, a prolific fundraiser, to run for leadership. When do you get it through your thick skulls? Money isn't always helping you. I understand that it's different. It's a presidential election and they have all this free media, but Hillary Clinton's outspent Donald Trump 2-1. Who is the president-elect right now? So you need a new approach. You need to actually energize voters instead of giving them yourselves as the only option to people who are terrified. Because only energized voters vote in midterms. But that's what the Democratic leadership wanted. They wanted Crowley. Crowley's decision to seek the chairmanship instead seemed to prompt Ryan to enter the race for minority leader. Of course, this is all coordinated behind the scenes, and they pretend like it's not. Ryan's bid is a rare provocation to Pelosi, who's led the Democrats since 2003 and has gone unchallenged in almost every cycle. Maybe that's the problem. Without even asking anybody for a vote, I have over 2/3 of the caucus supporting me, Pelosi told reporters Thursday. Ryan isn't so sure. I don't think that's the case, he said. In his letter, Ryan said Donald Trump's victory marks a turning point for the country, one that demands an overhaul in the Democrats' messaging and leadership strategy. What we are doing right now is not working, he wrote. At this time of fear and disillusionment, we owe it to our constituencies to listen and bring new voice into the leadership. I agree. A chorus of Democrats had voiced deep concerns in recent days, saying that the party is losing working-class Rust Belt voters. Why? Maybe because you don't have any policies that target them. The same demographic that launched Trump to surprise victories in states like Michigan and Wisconsin. By the way, him being from Ohio, that's not a coincidence, Tim Ryan. Empowering leaders from those states, I should just read before I give my own thoughts. And not just from the coast would go a long way towards winning back that electorate, many lawmakers say. Ryan said he'll use the days and weeks ahead to unveil a series of proposals to help energize the diverse base of our party. He's also volunteering a self-imposed term limit if he loses favor with even a third of the caucus. I like that. I expect the entire caucus to hold me accountable, Ryan wrote. That is why, if I am successful, I will not serve again without the support of 2/3 of the caucus. Pelosi, for her part, is defending her bid to remain the Democratic leader, saying Trump's presidency is an opportunity for big Democratic gains in 2018, and her long experience makes her best suited to take advantage. In 2005 and 2006, I orchestrated the takeback of the House and of Representatives. I am very, very proud of that, and we see that as an opportunity now, she said. So, but you also presided over this disaster. My thoughts on this. Tim Ryan's talking a good game. If you were a progressive that didn't really know anything about Tim Ryan, you didn't know anything about his policies, you didn't know anything about who he is as a human being, you didn't know anything except that he seems to be saying we need new blood in the Democratic establishment. We need new blood in the leadership. You'd be like, hell yeah, of course, I'm with you, Tim Ryan. We don't need Nancy Pelosi. As much as, she's the first female Speaker of the House, she's done some fine things in the past. She did orchestrate that comeback, but what did it do for people? Nancy Pelosi should be proud of the career she has within the constructs of the Democratic establishment, but it's time to retire. You have failed, and you as a leader should own that. But is Tim Ryan the person to take Nancy Pelosi's place? What's his stance on fracking? Congressman Ryan, first and foremost, this is when he was being interviewed, this is what he said, we've got to make sure the technology is right about fracking. I have no interest in polluting anybody's water. No. My environmental record will put up against anybody in Congress, so I'm very concerned we've got to do it the right way. If people own the property and have water wells, we've got to be concerned about that. The phrase from politicians, we've got to be concerned about that, is, I'm going to do it anyway. We've got to be concerned about that, and we've got to make sure our regulations are in place before we do anything on this. But there is a great opportunity now because the number one threat to our world is global warming. Having clean, accessible natural gas can transform our economy and reduce our dependence on foreign oil, which is a huge right-wing talking point, which we are doing now. It's clean fuel. It's jobs here in the United States, and it reduces our dependency on foreign oil, once again. So we can wind these wars down and get out of Afghanistan and get out of Iraq and use that money to invest back in the United States. That's a huge right-wing framing. We're exporting this oil. These oil companies are multinational corporations. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. This entire Dakota Access Pipeline is such a sham. They're exporting this oil. TransCanada, it's not even a Canadian company. We have to be smarter about these talking points and hold people's feet to the fire. But you know the thing about the mainstream media? When I was watching election coverage, CNN was sponsored every single time they went to commercial break by Vote for Energy, which is an American Petroleum Institute project to rebrand their polluting of the world. So the fact that this so-called new blood is eating up these right-wing talking points, it's just, he's not a progressive. I'll give you one more quote by him, or stance by him, and then I'll give you my opinion. My more full-fledged opinion. Representative Tim Ryan, Democrat of Ohio, a longtime opponent of abortion, announced in an op-ed on Tuesday, this was in 2015, that he now supports abortion rights, after having talked to women in difficult circumstances in his home state. Because, you know, you can't empathize with people from reading about it or from understanding basic moral concepts. You have to talk to people, and that's when you get to change your stance. It's such a stupid politician move. It means I saw that this was politically advantageous for me, so I talked to a few people, and now I've changed my thoughts. I have sat with women from Ohio and across the nation and heard them talk about their varying experiences, abusive relationships, financial hardship, health scares, rape, and incest, wrote Ryan. These women gave me a better understanding of how complex and difficult certain situations can become. And while there are people of good conscience on both sides of the argument, one thing has become abundantly clear to me: the heavy hand of the government must not make decisions for women and families. Ryan, who was raised Catholic, has long considered himself pro-life. Does this sound like anybody that was recently in the public eye? And has voted for numerous abortion restrictions since he was elected to Congress in 2003, including parental notification laws, restrictions on abortion funding and health care reform, and ban on abortions on federally funded military hospitals. In 2009, he wrote an op-ed for U.S. News & World Report, underscoring the need for fellow anti-abortion lawmakers to work with abortion rights supporters on solutions to prevent unplanned pregnancies. So, by the way, what I was alluding to is it sounds like Tim Kaine. We want Tim Kaine light. We want Tim Kaine light as the Democratic leader in the House. So what I see this guy as is Tim Ryan is an opportunist. He sees that the Democratic base and the progressive base is rightfully very angry, very upset. Makes sense. We just lost to a racist, xenophobic psycho who had a reality show and participated in WWME or whatever the hell the wrestling thingamajig is. That was a stupid burn. But they have a right to be angry. So he sees that anger, and what he's doing is saying, I am change. So vote for me and push for me against Nancy Pelosi, and I will bring you that change without the actual change. And that's the Democratic establishment in a nutshell. What have we also seen? Bernie Sanders got a leadership position. Elizabeth Warren has a leadership position in the Senate. But they're made-up positions. They're positions that never existed before. Chairman of outreach for Bernie Sanders, meaning get us votes, and we will continue doing what we're doing. Now, where I differ sometimes from Jordan on this is, I think, foaming at the mouth and saying, it's outrageous. Yeah, it is. I wish Bernie was, the president. I wish he was doing everything in the party. But, you have to take the fact that they're going to be in the room, and they're going to be at least being a check on Schumer and all of these corporatist Democrats in the party. So, I'm pleased with that outcome, moderately pleased, even though I wish it was more and it should be more. But this is very obviously a corporatist Democrat with very centrist to right positions who is using this opportunity to kind of pit himself against Nancy Pelosi and spring his political future on the backs of the progressive movement without people actually looking into his policies. That's not going to work. I think he's going to lose to Nancy Pelosi. I think she will retain her position. But I think he's using this to prop up his own political future in Ohio. That's what this is. It's change, but not change. It's change in human being, potentially, as the leader, but there's no policy difference. He is banking, and it's so cynical. He is banking on the misinformation and the lack of information that is being fed to the American people. But we're not going to buy it. No, 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 no longer. We're done with you. As I've said before, we're done with you, Democratic establishment. So, I don't even think he's gonna get what he wants, or what he theoretically wants, even if he's just using this extremely cynically to spring his own political future. But this is step one in a series of a million steps of holding the corrupt Democratic establishment accountable to push them to be the party that we need them to be. So, have a lovely day, my friends.